Yeah, John's not on yet.
Oh, that's it then.
Yeah. That's best he's looked for ages.
Yeah. Sounds like you're not the toilet.
Jump for a bone.
Don't be disgusting, Paul the Biscuit.
Okay. We're talking about you, not to you.
That cupboard can talk. Oh no, it doesn't. Shame.
What an unfortunate time to run out of toilet paper. I was actually washing the cat's bowl out. I've just fed the cat.
The cat's what?
All right.
Bowl. Chuff.
Right. We'll move swiftly on to and it's Chris again and talking about his dad. So it's part 3. Or is it part? Yes, it's part 3 of his dad's story in cricket. So over to you, Chris.
More episodes.
Right. Okay. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Keith. Thanks, guys. First thing to say is my dad would be incredibly proud and humble to be mentioned in the same Zoom meeting as someone as special as Sir Everton Weeks. He'd be quite tickled by that. So thanks, guys, for listening to that few words.
Chris, sorry, just briefly. Sorry. Do you know why it was called Everton?
Yes.
Not your dad, but Everton Weeks. Yeah.
Yes, it was because of Everton. And thank God his dad didn't grow up like in Leyton Orient. But no, it was Everton. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it was Everton.
His dad was an Everton supporter. Yeah.
For some reason, yes. Because it's a very unusual Christian name. Yeah.
Was that pre-Dixie
Could have been
Dean or
worse.
post-Dixie Dean?
Okay.
It could have been a Wednesday night.
Yeah, it could have been called Hillsborough
Then it
Week.
would have been Depressed Weeks.
Yes.
So, Chris, who was the Everton star at the time? Was it Dixie Dean or pre that?
Well, Sir Everton would be in his teenage years in about 35, 40. So for whatever reason, that was, I don't know quite the history, but that's where it came from.
Well, it looks like Everton was founded at perhaps the same time as he was born.
Dixie Dean.
No, don't.
No, a bit older than that, Everton.
Everton were the league champions before the war, weren't they?
Yeah. And Everton was a teenager in that time.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, thank you.
One of the.
All right. Just to pick up where we are, guys. My dad, Mike, is now a young married man in his 20s. He's on the staff at Notts, one of 30, big staff. He's got his first class career started, and now we move on to 1958. After my debut in 58, I continued to have a successful season, and I was given several more opportunities to play in the first team. In fact, I made 8 consecutive appearances by the end of July 1958. After my debut against Essex, I was selected for the match against Northants at Trent Bridge, and I had to play well in a crisis situation against possibly the fastest bowler of all time, Frank Tyson. In fact, I scored my first ever runs at this level in this game and off Frank Tyson when we were 53 for 4. I finished on 10 not out with Cyril Poole of Notts and England as my partner, and we actually won the match. I was duly promoted up the order to number 3 for our next game against Kent, which in itself I considered to be an unbelievable honour. And I went to the wicket to face only the second ball of the match, as our skipper, R.T. Simpson, was out first ball. I went on to make 34 in a stand of 90 over the next 2.5 hours before running myself out just before lunch. Kent's Godfrey Evans and Colin Cowdrey had both wished me well before the start of play. That was the calibre of sportsmanship of those two great England players. In the next game, I made 39 against Gloucestershire, but then I had a few indifferent scores as I continued to try to learn the game at such a high level. However, at Bournemouth in 1958 against Hampshire, I hit my highest score in the county championship, 53, and I did it facing Derek Shackleton, who was one of the best bowlers in post-war cricket. 1959. In 59, I had already scored nearly 400 runs for the second team in the minor counties competition, and my cricket was progressing despite the poor quality of many of the pitches. I knew I was playing well, and I just needed the correct amount of advice and assistance. My significant scores were 60 and 29 against Warwickshire, 50 against Staffordshire, where I was caught and bowled David Steele. David Steele went on to be selected for England and took on Lillian Thompson, if you remember.
Was he one of the oldest debutants or something?
Sorry?
Was he one of the oldest debutants, David?
Yes, yes, he was. Yes, and he got premature grey hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 96 against Derbyshire and 67 when we played Lincolnshire. So my dad, you know, coming out of character, my dad was doing well. Age 24, my confidence rocketed in mid-June 1959 when I was reselected for the first team to play Cambridge University at Trent Bridge. Notts had succeeded in recruiting one of the greatest players and most charismatic cricketers the game has ever seen, Keith Miller, widely regarded as Australia's greatest all-rounder and a man who had already won the Ashes 3 times. The date was Saturday the 13th of June with a noon start. Keith Miller had not yet arrived by the time our innings was about to commence. And when he did arrive, he hadn't got any equipment, which he proceeded to borrow from everybody else in the dressing room. There were around 6,000 people in the ground. The size of the crowd gives an indication of the aura surrounding this man. When he entered the dressing room, he chatted with everyone as if he was a mere mortal, which in my eyes, he certainly wasn't. Fancy me, I thought, now playing with one of the game's greats. A man I had watched in awe as a youngster, aged just 13, playing against England in 1948 at Trent Bridge, bowling bouncers at Len Hutton and Dennis Compton. Keith's image was as big as any film star. And of course, he had not forgotten to bring Miss Australia with him to this match. The huge crowd saw him shortly because we were soon 23 for 3 when I joined him in the middle, with the thought in my head, what the hell am I doing here? It would be impossible to translate my feelings as I saw Miller as my batting partner, but with many an encouraging word in my ear at the end of every over from Keith Miller, I scored 72, my highest ever score for Notts. Our 4th wicket partnership was 128, and my partner made 62. In the evening, Keith just happened to open the bowling and he got 2 for 9. And then in the second innings, he got a century in 125 minutes of brilliance. He was quite useful. I also caught 3 brilliant catches in this match, one head high at first slip off a vicious bouncer from Keith, and another diving horizontally to my left, one-handed. We eventually won the match by 179. It was a memorable match and one of my happiest cricketing memories. In my own mind, I knew I'd grown in character through these experiences. I haven't got the scorecard, guys, which I'm trying to buy if anyone ever comes across one. But that is the original press. It's a copy of the original Nottinghamshire press cuttings, which describes that partnership. And there's 2 pictures there, one of Miller and one of my dad. I daren't get the original out because it's too fragile. Henry Blofeld was playing in that game, by the way, and he became quite famous. He was opening the batting for Cambridge.
My dear old thing.
My dear old thing. I played in the next 7 first-class games for Notts, but this match with Keith Miller was my greatest personal achievement. I met him twice after our respective retirements, both times at Epsom Races for the Derby, and we chatted about these events on my magical day in cricket with him. To just illustrate how much Keith Miller is thought of in cricketing circles, I believe there are only 10 statues, life-size, at the MCG in Australia, and Keith Miller is one of those 10, and that's a fantastic statue of Keith Miller in bowling action. He was made an inaugural member of the Australian Cricket Hall of Fame, and when he died, aged 84, the Victorian government gave him a state funeral. I hope you enjoyed those few reminiscences. They were very proud moments in my dad's professional career.
Brilliant.
Yeah, excellent.
Right.
And the next instalment, if you want one, will be when he moves on. He moves on and he goes into other parts of cricket. So if you want another instalment, Keith, there is one that is rather interesting if you want it.
Was that like Into the Cricketers on Bramall Lane?
Hold on. So again,
Other parts of cricket, like the cricketers in Bramall Lane at Bramall Lane?
yes, I can include that. He did play at Bramall Lane.
Yeah, but did he go in the cricketers pub?
At cricket.
He's a pub.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, lads.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So,
Chris, what is- can I just ask? Chris,
Can I just say, just a little,
Hold on.
I'll give you a call back. Yeah.
yes, Ron.
just a little story about Keith Miller. Tell you what kind of a guy he was. He was asked about the pressures of playing test match cricket, and he said to the reporter, playing test match cricket's not a pressure, it's having a Messerschmitt up your arse end. Bearing in mind he was a fighter pilot during the war.
Yeah.
You heard that story, Chris?
I have, and that's exactly how he was. He was not bothered about figures. He was not bothered about achievements. He just went out and thrashed it or bowled it as fast as he could. He was a genius, a total genius.
But a Messerschmitt up your backside, particularly when the propeller's still turning, is quite.
Right, Paul the Biscuit.
I just wondered, Chris, what's the significance of the shirt that's behind you? I guess
All right.
into it.
Okay. Sir Everton, because he played for Barbados born, and the West Indies, is part of the Legends of Barbados Limited, which is a company dedicated to the memory of all living and passed away cricketers from Barbados who played Test match cricket. And so it's a brand.
Okay, thank you.
And this is Sir Everton's brand.
Oh,
This
right.
is the Weeks Legend shirt, which very kindly, it probably won't come out on screen, but very kindly he signed for me, and he's put to Chris, best wishes. I mean, what do you say? But there is a shop in Barbados and an airport shop as well, and that gear for all the famous West Indians is on sale.
Yeah, Chris, can you just hold the front up just a little bit higher, please?
That's the front.
Yep.
And that's personalised to, obviously, Sir Everton.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a footnote on Sir Everton, subject to his family's wishes, he will be laid to rest in a plot that's reserved for him at the University of the West Indies ground, which is called the 3Ws ground. And that plot already has the other two, his two other friends, Sir Clyde Walcott and Sir Frank Worrell. So if the family agrees, all three men will be laid to rest beside each other at the University of West Indies, which obviously is in Barbados. I suspect there will be a state funeral for him.
Yeah.
The nation is just extremely sad.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but when I first became aware of cricketers, the three Ws for West Indies were really the first people that I became aware of. And I think it was because they were playing England in about 1950 something when I was getting used to it. And, you know, they were the top men, the three Ws. It was quite exciting to see them.
And the Calypso song as well.
Yes.
And then they were
In
followed by
1950, they were the first, he was part of the first West Indian team to ever win in England.
Yeah.
You know, he got 4 double centuries and a triple century. The legend was, the legend became, that from out of that. It was an astonishing man, astonishingly modest man.
Then they were followed
Lol.
by Charlie Griffiths and Wes Hall.
Yeah.
Just in Cigarfield.
Lol,
No there.
you,
Now, does anybody remember Parkhead Cricket Week? Used to go through the 50s and 60s at Parkhead off Ecclesall Road. And
yeah,
every year, they had one week they had guests. And Frank Worrell often guested there, not necessarily as a player, but just an onlooker. The other
Wow.
famous people were, was it George Pope,
Yes.
Yorkshireman, Norman Yardley, and Gary Sobers, I saw him there. And they used to have that week when Yorkshire were playing at Bramall Lane. And after they'd finished at Bramall Lane, they came up and they would play against the Parkhead 11. Now, one instance, does anybody know what the Parkhead cricket is in? It's in like a bowl. And all the spectators sat on this banking. And one time when I went, Freddie Truman was fielding not far from this edge of the boundary, and this blind man came onto the field with an autograph book, and he said, "I want to see Freddie Truman, I want his autograph." And Freddie went over to him, signed, and guided him back to where he'd come from. And I thought, I've always remembered that gesture by Freddie Truman.
I'm sure Freddie Truman scored a century one year.
He did.
Yeah,
Was it
against
against Warwickshire, Glamorgan?
can't remember, but at the Parkhead Cricket Week, Fred
Well,
Truman scored.
I thought it meant championship cricket.
No, at Parkhead on an eve, scored a century. Yeah.
Because when they hit it into the field, if you ran after it and retrieved it, you got money for getting the ball back.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it was around 6 pence or something you used to get. And I remember Brian Close knocking 6 after 6 after 6 into that field when he was playing.
Yeah.
Because the boundary was only a short boundary, wasn't it?
Very short boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played there. It's not good.
Does anybody know what other sport was played there?
Baseball.
Okay.
Croquet.
Really?
Who said croquet?
Not me.
Oh, croquet.
Not cricket, croquet. Yeah. And they still play it now. Well, they would have been doing. Right. We'll move on to the next thing, which is a quiz. Now, Paul didn't finish his 1968 quiz last week, so we're going to finish. Paul's going to finish his, and I think John may have got a 1961 quiz lined up to come.
Oh, yeah, I'll
after
go get it out.
Yeah. So, Paul.
Right. It's a bit difficult to follow about Everton week, but we'll do our best. Can I just mention, last week I talked about the Black Power demonstration that was held on the victory rostrum at the Olympics '68, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, and about the Australian runner that was with them. I wouldn't mind doing a 5 minutes on Peter Norman at some stage. There's been a good article in the Times this morning about it. Somebody who plays in our band is a very close friend of the family. and he knows what happened to Peter Norman because he was completely ostracised by the whole of Australian society, particularly the Olympic Association. So they've never forgiven him for the fact that he actually supported Carlos and Smith. And
I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
Next week. Next
All right.
week, Paul.
Yeah, okay, I can do that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Right, the last question I asked was who won the Masters Golf. If you remember, it was a guy called Bob Golby who only won because Roberto Di Vincenzo signed for the wrong score. So moving on, who won the Open Championship in '68? It
Tony
was
Jack.
No, Jackley was 69, I believe.
Trevino.
No, one of the big ones.
Tom Watson.
No,
Jack Nicklaus.
Nicholas.
no, keep going on the big ones.
Palmer. Player.
No, Player.
Tom,
Gary Player. Yeah, Gary Player won
Gary
at
Player.
68. Yeah. Now, again, think of the year, but why was the opening day of the baseball season postponed? It's nothing really to do with baseball. It's something else that
It
happened.
was the mission to the moon.
Say
The
that again.
Olympics.
It was the mission to the moon.
No,
Oh,
that was 69 as well, I think.
The Olympics.
Opening day of the Olympics.
No, it was unexpectedly postponed.
It wasn't an election day. Oh no, that's wrong time. What wasn't an election day?
No,
Wrong time of year.
a particularly unusual happening in '68.
Woodstock.
was
Beatles.
the
No.
somebody civil rights related?
It
Yes,
was-
civil rights related.
Was it the death of Martin Luther
Ma-
King?
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He was assassinated the previous day, I believe. Okay. Now, who was the person who
Got that right.
assassinated? Who was the person who assassinated him, and where was he arrested? Do you know?
James Earl Ray.
Yes, and where was he arrested?
And he was arrested in Britain, wasn't he?
Yes,
in
he was.
London.
Heathrow Airport.
Right.
Yeah, I just threw that in as a bit of a trivia thing, really. But
Good knowledge.
yeah, it's got to be fairly unusual.
I've been to the motel in Memphis.
Have you? Okay. Right. Is there a
Yeah.
shrine there for him?
Yes, there's a shrine over. You can't get into the room. There's a shrine over the
I can imagine that.
balcony.
Yeah. And when you booked it, Ron, did you sing Long Distance Information, Give Me Memphis, Tennessee?
Don't encourage him, Ron. Don't encourage him.
We find my true love. Get in touch with my Marine.
Oh, no.
Oh,
It's,
dear, keep singing.
Come back, John.
Come on.
it's come from a different direction. I thought it was
Dave
saved.
Berry version.
Yeah.
Dave Berry.
Is that the one? Okay. I'll take your word
Yeah.
for that. Which other US politician was assassinated that year?
Bobby Kennedy.
Robert Kennedy.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Okay, one for Ian, probably. Which horse won the Grand National in '68?
Can't remember.
Chris thinks he knows. Go on.
Would it be the 100 to 1?
No.
Fournhaven.
No.
No, that was 67.
Yeah.
Trip.
I know
Oxford.
that, 'cause it's the day Wednesday lost at Chelsea 1-0.
Right. Okay.
Well, that's easy to remember Wednesday defeats. There's a lot of them.
Not in those days, mate. Good team then.
When they weren't
Stop
giving
it.
it.
Stop it. Sorry. Go on, then who won the national? Ian, do you not know that one?
No, I can't remember.
It's Red Alligator.
Oh.
I do remember, even I remember the name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of Liverpool money on that one.
I bet. What was the significance of the tennis Grand Slams in '68?
Professional.
First professional.
Yeah. First
Oh,
professional.
First year of the Open era. That's right, yeah. Who won the men's singles at Wimbledon?
Labour.
John Newcomb.
Rod Laver.
Rod Laver.
Rod
yeah.
Laver.
Oh.
Beat Tony Roach. So 2 Australians in the final. In the women's singles at Wimbledon that year, who won that?
Billie Jean King.
Yes, and she beat an Australian, Judy Teagart. Okay, so 3 Australians out of the 4 finalists. Who won the US Open tennis?
Althea Gibson.
Rod Laver.
No, sorry, I was talking about the men's. It wasn't Rod Laver, no.
Rod Laver.
No, not
No,
Rod Laver.
no.
John Newcombe.
Arthur
No.
Ashe.
Arthur Ashe, yes. Yeah, the first black winner of a Grand Slam. But who won the Women's Open?
Margaret Court.
No, closer to home.
Goolagong.
And Hayden Jones.
Oh,
Close to
No.
Virginia Wade.
home.
Virginia Wade. Yeah,
Wow.
Virginia Wade won. Yeah, I'd forgotten that she'd won that.
Yeah.
US Open winner. Which Beatles film made its debut in '68?
Hard Day's Night.
No.
not Hard Day's Night.
Yellow
can you
Submarine.
help me?
Yellow Submarine. Yeah,
Yellow Submarine.
you don't need to, John. It's okay. Yeah.
Go on,
Okay.
John. Give us a song.
Go on,
John.
In the town where I was
When I
born.
was born,
Yeah, go on then.
lived a man who
Who
sailed to
sailed to
sea,
sea, and he told
and he told
us of his life
us of his life
in the land
land,
of submarine.
submarines.
So we
2, 3,
sailed
4.
up to the sun till we found,
We
the
found
sea of green,
Sea of green.
and we lived beneath the waves in our
Yeah,
yellow
yeah.
submarine.
Submarine. 2,
We
3,
lived
4.
on a blue and white cup, a blue and white
Red
cup.
and white
Anyway,
cup.
Stop now.
enough's enough.
Right, okay.
Don't worry, I'll edit that out. Don't worry.
Yes, please do. Yeah, yeah. Very offensive.
Thank you.
Go on then. Who was the Formula One world champion? This is the next to the last question.
Brabham.
Jack Brabham.
No,
Too early for Hunt, isn't it?
Jochen Rindt.
no. Again, close to home.
Jackie Stewart.
Jackie.
Yeah, Hill.
No, the
No.
other one, Jim Clark.
Watson.
Surtees.
No,
Surtees.
not Surtees. No.
Watson.
Goldie.
Graham Hill.
Graham Hill. Yeah.
I
Graham.
said that about 7 times.
I'm sorry, John. I think
Sorry
my
about
ears.
that. You're
Nobody listens to
welcome.
him.
I think my ears were still buzzing from the singing.
Exactly. At your age, your ears are probably fading.
Yeah. And the last one, one for Big Paul. This I think. Who was the world heavyweight boxing champion?
68.
Yeah. Chris thinks he knows as well.
68.
Go on then, Chris.
Fraser.
Frazier. Yes. He won 2 fights that year. He beat Buster Mathis with the technical knockout to win the title, and then defended it against Oscar Bonavena in the December. So they
Was
were
he
the
Argentinian?
Oscar Bonavena, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that's
Paul,
Okay.
who did you say won the title off?
Buster Mathis.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether that he won the title off him. It might have been a title.
Defense.
It might have been-
What he won there was the New York's version of the world heavyweight title, not one
Really?
of the recognized belts.
Oh, okay.
I think
Yes,
it
Ron.
was Jerry Quarry that he actually won the recognized title off.
He wasn't
Oh,
the
okay.
real champion anyway.
Right.
Hadn't
Oh,
they stripped Ali of the title by then?
yeah, he was the
Hadn't
real,
they taken the title off Ali?
yes, I believe so. He was the real
Yeah.
champ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Right.
60 then.
10-minute
Paul,
warning.
Thank you.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll
Right,
just pick it
John.
up.
We'll move on to John with his 1961 quiz.
1961. First of all, I'll just show you that. I don't know if you can see it. Cyril did that for me. Anybody recognise him?
Looks nothing like you.
Is it
Jackie
reference-
Don't be
Cyril.
cheeky, a scout kit.
It's Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson. And he also did this one for me. Anybody
Lionel
recognise
Is that
Messi.
Messi?
Messi.
Lionel Messi, yeah.
Good, that.
What a
Yeah.
player. What a player.
Yeah.
What a player. Anyway, 1961, I'll start off with some questions about Wednesday, then about United, and then general. All right. Who
Yeah.
was the manager, Wednesday's manager at the beginning of the year,
It's a big
That's
book.
it.
in 1961?
Harry
Catherine.
Catherine.
Harry Catterick.
Catterick, yeah, yeah. And who was the manager at the end of the year?
Buckingham.
Vic Buckingham, yeah.
Yeah.
What position did Wednesday finish in the
Second.
first division in 61?
Sixth.
No,
No, 61.
Second.
Second.
second. Yeah,
To the double winners, wasn't it?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. First team to beat Tottenham, weren't they?
Yeah.
They won 23, drew 12 and lost 7. Goals 478 against 47. They'd got the best defence, but only the 10th best attack. And I always remember it as a really good attacking team.
John,
Yeah.
who would have been the
Dave?
top scorer for you then?
Who would have been the top goal scorer? Possibly between Keith Ellis and Johnny Phantom. I would suspect Phantom.
Ah,
It'd be
yeah.
Phantom.
Yeah.
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 Uh,
Just before, John, just before
Yeah.
you go to the next question, you've reminded me of a statistic I saw yesterday.
38,
about-
26, 38.
Yeah, it's not about. It's about.
Are you having a fit?
It's about Manchester City.
Yeah.
In the last 103 games where they've been behind at half time, how many have they won?
53.
None.
One.
Wow.
All 103 of them.
That's incredible.
They've won one. They've only won one. They've drawn 12 and lost 90 times when they've been
Blimey.
behind at half time.
Blimey.
That's a secret then.
Yeah.
Score
Look
ever.
from the start.
So what happened on November the 12th of 1961 in Wednesday terms? We've already
That
mentioned
wasn't
it.
when they beat Spurs, was
We
it?
beat Spurs
When they
2-1.
beat
Yeah.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs.
Yeah. And who were Wednesday scorers?
Phantom.
Phantom
Griffin.
and Billy Griffin.
Oh,
Griffin.
And what was the crowd, considering it was a three-sided ground because they were building the cantilever stand then, and it was just a framework. So what was the crowd?
45,000.
56.
56,363. A three-sided ground.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Dave?
I was at the front.
Yes.
I was passed down to the front in traditional fashion.
Yes, Dave.
Yeah, I was ball boy at that game.
Were you, Dave?
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
it's when they were building stand.
Yeah.
They needed one at juniors to go and fetch the ball. So
Yeah. I remember you fetching it, Dave.
yeah, well I saw you coming down.
Yeah.
You have a sanitizer.
He threw the ball back to the pitch but missed.
Yeah. Who opened, which official opened the cantilever stand in 1961?
Which
Wilson.
official?
Which official, which
Harold Wilson.
outstanding administrator?
Oh,
It
Stanley
wasn't
Rouse.
Stanley
What was that,
Rouse.
Paul
was
the
it?
Biscuit?
Stanley Rouse.
Rouse.
Yeah, Sir Stanley Rouse, yeah. What was his position at that time?
Chairman of the FA.
He was the 6th
He
president
was
of
chairman
FIFA.
of
All right.
He was actually the
FIFA,
president of FIFA, yeah.
He was next.
The
to
first match in front of the, this is a personal memory. You might know, Ron might know, Dave might know. Who did they play the first game against when they opened the cantilever stand? A night match.
While the guys are thinking about that, John.
Yeah.
Was it Moscow Dynamos?
No,
Yeah.
it was a league game.
John,
Sorry,
was it
Ian.
Moscow Dynamos?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Sorry,
Sorry, Ian.
John. Sir Stanley Rouse was the guy stood next to the Queen when she gave the World Cup.
That's right.
War.
Yeah, that's right.
President there.
It was, yeah. They played Bolton Wanderers in a night match, 1-4-2. Bobby Craig, Derek Wilkinson and Keith Ellis 2 were the scorers. And on the Saturday, they beat Birmingham City 5-1. And Phantom scored a hat-trick. And I've still got a picture somewhere of him horizontal about 4 feet off the ground, heading his third into the top corner.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And in that 5-1, it was Phantom 3, Ellis and Finney. United, what position did United finish in May 1961?
Desperate.
Runner up in Division 2.
Runners up, yeah.
Yeah.
And who won the
Ipswich.
title?
Ipswich.
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 Yeah. Managed by
Bobby Robson.
Sir Alf
Alf
Ramsey.
Alf Ramsey.
Good Alf.
Yeah.
Didn't
Who
United get
was
to the cup?
United's manager? Sorry, Paul.
Didn't United get to the cup semi-final that year, or was it the following
Yes,
year?
we did.
Played Leicester City 3
Semi-final.
times.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say Rob. They had a goal disallowed, but it was another Derek Pace handball. So what can you say? Yeah. But
The mark on his shirt, John.
hey,
Yesterday in.
And I was
He
there.
got some mud on his hand and put it on his shirt. My dad went to those games. He's still got. I've got the 3 programs. Yeah, but very close to getting to the cup final. United.
Yeah. I went to the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was
Yeah, I was at
United's
the
manager?
replay at Forest Ground, actually.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, Paul. Big Paul.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
Paul.
question for John. Johnny Phantom.
Yeah.
Yeah, did he have a really long career in? Because I remember
Quite a long career. But then he
Sorry?
moved on to Rotherham after he'd been with Wednesday for more than 10 years.
That's
He
right.
became a little bit of a legend at Rotherham.
I can remember seeing him playing at Rotherham, like.
Yeah.
I just
Wednesday
wondered-
players tended to go to Rotherham. Johnny Quinn was another one.
Yeah.
And then he took up haircutting on.
And then he took, look what he's done to me. Yeah. Getting me haircut on Thursday.
I'm going this
what was
afternoon.
what was the score in the derby at Bramall Lane in September the 16th?
Wednesday must have won.
2-1 to
2-1.
2-1 to
I'm a lot
United.
fairer than Keith, Paul. Yeah.
2-1 to United.
No,
Derek
1-0
Pace.
to United.
Oh, it was Derek
That
Pace.
was at Bramall
anyway.
Lane. Yeah. And who scored?
Derek Pace.
Doug Pace, yeah. Yeah.
Less
And
than a minute.
what was the crowd? What was the crowd? Crowd?
45,000.
42.
No, not nearly enough. No.
No, 50.
No,
About
no,
50
no. Poor crowd. You're
about
miles up.
52,000.
38,497. 38,000. Poor support from home team.
Three-sided ground.
Right, John, can I stop you there and just say,
No.
can we do the rest of it next week, please?
No,
Is that
it'd make
okay?
more sense for me to have 10 more seconds. What was the
Go
score
on
in the
then.
reverse fixture?
United won 2-1.
Who scored?
Derek
Not fair.
Pace.
2, and who scored for Wednesday?
No
Terrific
idea.
play. For 18 months, a superb play. Colin Dobson. And what was the crowd?
Oh, yes.
What was the crowd?
Probably 52,000.
5,000.
50,937. That's proper support,
Right.
that.
Closing down.
Right, John, I need to stop you there because we've got to finish before it runs out of time. So thank you, everyone.